Et je donne tout de suite.
Thank you, Ambassador, for that important statement. And I now give the floor to the Russian Federation. Mr. President, first of all, allow me to thank you for the initiative of organizing this high-level meeting on the implementation of the Council's Counterterrorism Resolution 1373, which turns 20 this year. We are grateful to Tunisia for having prepared a balanced presidential statement, which once again confirms the relevance of the resolution and the Council's counterterrorism measures that were developed on the basis of it. We welcome the head of the UN Office of Counterterrorism, Vladimir Varankov, and the head of the Counterterrorism Committee, Executive Directorate, Michel Konings. Russia highly appreciates your contribution to the practical implementation of the decisions adopted by the Council and, of course, to today's discussion. We also welcome Ms. Fatima Akilu. Mr. President, the counterterrorism priorities laid out in Resolution 1373 were built upon independently in subsequent Council decisions. As the terrorist threat changed, we steadily strengthened the mechanisms for the criminal prosecution of terrorists, for combating the financing of terrorism, and for combating the spread of violent propaganda. To this end, bilateral and multilateral channels of cooperation have been established and the exchange of information has been streamlined. Without question, the establishment of the Security Council Counterterrorism Committee and its Executive Directorate was a turning point. They were given responsibility for ensuring oversight of the implementation of relevant Council decisions. The monitoring and impartial evaluation of states remains the primary task of CTED experts. No other body in the UN system has nor could have the same mandate. The UN has established a contemporary counterterrorism architecture, which is coordinated by the UN Office of Counterterrorism. Russia is in favor of the steady strengthening of cooperation between the OCT and CTED, with a focus on supporting the implementation of the Security Council's counterterrorism decisions, including Resolution 1373. It's also important that technical assistance for interested states be provided on the basis of CTC recommendations, and it goes without saying, with the consent of the host country. At present, projects that are designed to strengthen border security, to combat foreign terrorist fighters, to stop terrorists using the internet, and to shut down the illicit supply of arms are particularly important. For its part, our country is supporting these efforts, including in financial terms. Mr. President, unfortunately, the threat of terrorism is not abating. It remains one of the major challenges of the modern age. And in responding to this challenge, joint efforts of the global community need to be deployed. Much greater efforts than those that are used to establish the relations between countries. Even during this pandemic that has encompassed the entire world, terrorists are continuing to try to take advantage of the situation. They accuse states of not being able to successfully deal with this crisis. The risk also remains that new hotbeds of instability will be created, chiefly due to the actions of FTFs, who are returning to their countries of origin from combat zones. The implementation of Resolution 1373 is therefore just as relevant as it was 20 years ago. ISIL, Al-Qaeda, and related structures are inspiring attacks in countries that were, until recently, considered islands of security. The situation is compounded by the fact that those who commission or carry out terrorist attacks can be physically located on a different continent. And even given this level of uncertainty, there are still states that continue to neglect their obligations to prosecute terrorists and who refuse to cooperate with foreign partners. Sometimes this is done with reference to human rights. The use of this pretext in such an unscrupulous way is unacceptable. The effectiveness of the UN's work largely depends on whether its organs adhere to their mandates. At the moment, the Security Council and its subsidiary bodies sometimes pay too much attention to the human rights aspects of counterterrorism, which is the focus of other parts of the organization, and this to the detriment of their primary mission to ensure security. Mr. President, we are pleased to note Tunisia's contribution to the work of the CTC as its chair. 2021 promises to be a busy year in terms of activities that are directly related to Resolution 1373. We will have to update the tools for evaluating states, launch the new format of hybrid monitoring visits, and at the end of the year, renew the CTC's mandate. We hope that these efforts will result in a further improvement of the effectiveness of the UN's counterterrorism efforts, including through the cooperation between states in good faith that is enshrined in Resolution 1373. Thank you.
I thank